again, you just never know who's going to be out there that you're going to connect with, that's going to say, hey, I'm also in that effort. I want to help.
A switch point moment is a moment in time that fundamentally changes your life because of a connection you made with another human being. My name is Shawn P Neal, and this is the Switch Point Project. And hey, welcome to the Switch Point Project this week. I am excited to bring you a great interview with a guy that I met on Clubhouse, and as fate would have it, we ended up connecting on LinkedIn, not realizing that he was the same person I was sharing the Clubhouse room with. David Williams is the Chief Executive Officer at Products for Humanity, and he has been in the baby products industry for quite a while and has really developed a skill for understanding what consumers want. And then he looked further. He looked beyond the products, and he started to create what would be a legacy project for him, a legacy piece. And this is what we talk about as we age into life and we start to look at the bigger picture. It's what are we leaving behind? How do we affect the world? And so I'm really happy to bring this interview to you and to share a great conversation with you that I had with David Williams. So take a quick word for our sponsor here, or from our sponsor, and we'll be right back with David Williams of Products for Humanity. All right, and David Williams, thanks so much for joining me. How are you, my friend?
I am doing well. Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Very good to see you and talk to you. So you are the CEO of For Humanity Baby Products. And I love the fact that with a 5-year-old running around the house, that I get to talk to you about some of those things that, that we have used over the past few years. But real quick, just a little bit about you. How did you get into the industry of baby products, and how long have you been involved in that?
I've been in it for about 33 years now. This is my 33rd year. And believe it or not, I got into it in a softball game.
Softball, really?
Yeah, I was playing softball with my church, and there was a new guy there, and he was playing second base. I had never met him. Ball was hit over my head, and I went deep out at the end of the outfield and grabbed the ball, turned around, and just fired what they call a frozen rope, a straight line ball straight to him at second base, and it hit him in the glove. And he stopped, and he looked at me like, did you just call my mother a name or something? He kind of threw his chest back at me and stared at me for a minute. And I'm like, wow, I don't know what I did to him, but whatever. And I got to the dugout, and he goes, who are you? And I go, I'm Dave. And he goes, oh, well, I'm Rob. And he goes, but no, who are you? And I go, what are you talking about? And he goes, I've never seen anybody throw a softball as hard as you did. And I go, well, I played professional baseball. I was a pitcher. I said, so I've got a little bit of an arm. And he goes, oh my gosh. And that struck up a friendship that later evolved into where I had a ceramic tile and marble company at the time, and he needed warehouse space for some strollers, and I ended up warehousing his strollers, and then he got into a conflict of interest and said, hey, I'm stuck with those strollers. Could you help me sell them? And I went, yeah, I could sell them. And I sold out like 3,000 strollers in less than 10 days. And he goes, okay, we need to talk about a new career for you. And that's where it all started. So it literally started on a softball field.
That's wonderful. Now, do you have any children of your own?
I've got 4 boys and 6 grandkids so far.
There you go. So the things that you have then sold throughout the years have probably been tried and tested, I would assume, at your home.
Just a few times.
That's fantastic. One thing that that caught my attention about you, we were talking prior to this, and people who have listened to the show for a while know this thing that I refer to called the 413, which is a clubhouse room operated by a mutual friend of ours. And that's where we met. And then we discovered after face-to-face on Zoom that we actually knew each other from there. But, we really were talking about how you got into the space and then how you decided to create a product that would be innovative and increase the quality of something that we all know and love, the stroller. and then, launch that on your own. And you said something really important to me. You said the word legacy. That's what I really wanted to maybe dive in a little bit about. So first of all, about the product. So you've spent some time, you've done some things to the traditional stroller that are kind of cool. So can you just tell me a little bit about that? What you've done to make this really interesting?
Yeah, so I took I'm not the creator of the category, if you will. There's some people that have a very good stroller out there. It's actually a very popular stroller that converts from a single to a double stroller. It can use a bassinet, or it can use a seat or two seats, or whatever configuration you want it to have. And then you could actually attach a little skateboard to the back of it that attaches to the stroller, and a third child could actually stand, kind of behind the back seat and under the handle. So it converts from a single to a double to a triple.
Okay.
I didn't create that. What I did do is looked at it and said, okay, I'm seeing these strollers everywhere, and I side backstory a little bit. My eldest son is one of the top 100 chefs in the world, Brady, and so I become a foodie through him, and so I tend to hang out in probably a little bit more affluent areas because I like the food. I like to go to fine dining restaurants. I like to try, different menus than what you'd get, at a chain. So, and I don't know if that's what drew my attention to it, but I kept seeing the same stroller going by over and over and over again. I'm like, what the heck is this? Now, I had been taken kind of a step away from baby products for a couple of years and was focusing just on real estate. And I had sold my interest in a previous car seat company. And I can get into my whole career if you'd like, but I had taken a step away, so I didn't know this brand. So I started researching the brand. I went, oh, okay, well, that's kind of a cool stroller. That's kind of neat. And then I looked at the reviews, and the reviews weren't that great. I'm like, how on earth are these people pushing all these strollers, around with their, with this brand, and the reviews aren't that great? So I dug into it. I literally walked up to about 15 different moms and said, hey, random guy on the street here, sorry to bug you, but I'm getting ready to design a new stroller. I'd like to ask you a couple of questions about your stroller, if you don't mind. And they were pretty open to share with me, and some of them were on walks around Balboa Island, which I live in Denver, but I hang out a lot in Newport Beach. I'm from Orange County. I was walking around Balboa Island and just walking with the moms around the island and like, hey, tell me about this stroller. And the surprising thing was that 90% of them said, I got it because my friend said it was the best. Right. Okay. I go, what do you dislike about it? Well, it has these attachments and it causes it to wiggle and wobble, and it doesn't feel real secure for the baby. And the bottom seat is a little bit smaller than the upper seat, but they tell you to put your bigger child there, so it doesn't. The child's not very comfortable in that seat, and it's so heavy and hard to maneuver. And I went, wow, if you guys can get this much market share and that much brand recognition on a product that's not truly loved, there's got to be a better chance. So I designed one without the adapters. Both seats are the same size. I made it a little bit more compact so that you could maneuver it more easily, and I created some handles that allowed it that when it's folded that you could pick it up easier, and I made it about 5 pounds, 5 pounds lighter than than my predecessor. So those were the main things. I mean, there's some other subtle differences that I made to the product, but I really wanted to design it that was better. Then I had paid a lot of money to have somebody design it for me. Had a manufacturer make me a prototype, and this was the most fascinating thing: is they made it out of 3D printed plastic parts. You could not tell that this wasn't a production style stroller. And so had one built. It was, I'll be honest with you, it was a little more wobbly than I would have liked it to be. So it gave me a chance, though, to dial in those specs. And there was a couple of handle issues that I was able to work out. But nonetheless, I had a pretty good looking sample. And I went back out and surveyed 40 moms and said, may I show you my stroller? And they were like, yeah. And so we would talk about that stroller, and here's what I made. And again, I targeted those particular customers that were pushing that one brand, and went up to them. And what I started to determine was they were pushing that brand because it was a status symbol, not because of the quality of the product. It was status. It was the most expensive stroller on the market. It was status. I'm like, okay, but they don't like it. So I started to think about this, and I shared with you before, I'm a spiritual guy. Kind of felt the God tugging at my heart to do this for other people, do it for others. And I didn't quite understand what that was. And I put a lot of thought, meditation, and prayer into it. And one day I turned the TV on, and 37 girls were found that were being trafficked in Atlanta, and their average age was 8 to 12 years old. Well, my two eldest granddaughters at the time were 8 and 12. And I just went, oh, it's, stabbed me in the heart. This is what I've got to do. So when I went back out and surveyed those moms, I said, what do you think of the stroller? They all said, this is great. It's fantastic. And then I said, and I'm giving a percentage of our sales to charities that support victims of human trafficking. And I'm not kidding you, Shawn, they jumped out of their seats. They were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I would have bought this. Oh, I wish it was out when I bought mine. I would have bought yours over this one anytime, blah, blah, blah. So I knew we hit on something that was going to be pretty significant, pretty substantial. And so I was pretty pleased about that. And as I mentioned to you, I've got 4 boys. I've got 6 grandkids. My oldest 2 are boy-girl twins. They'll soon be 15. In 10 years, they're going to be looking for jobs. and I'm hoping that one of them will want to continue this on, where one of my sons will. Obviously, Brady's well entrenched in his career, but the other boys, one's a certified financial planner. One just got done playing professional baseball. One works in operations for Disneyland. So, they're all on their own. They're all doing well. But I'm really hoping at some point in time that one of them is going to get the bug that I got and want to take this over and grow it. And I don't want it to be just baby products. I have a bigger vision for this as we expand into other consumer product categories, which the parent company is Products for Humanity. Then we have for Humanity baby products, and then we will have the various other divisions that will also support charities. Probably most likely, I can't say for sure, but most likely children's charities, because that's where my heart is.
Yeah. And what you're really touching on here is this idea of vision and creating a vision. We talk a lot about that in the business world. And I think more and more people need to hear it also in their personal lives as well, creating the vision for your life. But in that, there's this piece of vulnerability. You, for instance, went out on the streets and said, here is my idea. Tell me what you think about it. Therefore, opening yourself up to people criticizing, critiquing, maybe telling you things you didn't want to hear. What is it within you that when you're doing that you're able to take that tough criticism or the things that you were really proud of that somebody else didn't like and use that to cultivate a good, building environment for the product?
That's a great question. And nobody would ever guess this, but I'm a bit of an introvert. I'm not the guy that goes into a party and is the life of the party. In fact, I'm shy when I go into groups like that. I have an issue of going up and introducing myself to people because I feel like I'm bothering them. But when I have a purpose and when I feel it's something bigger than me, such as this stroller and this company and the mission of the company, then I'm as bold as it gets. So, I don't know, maybe I should see somebody about this problem, but it truly was something that just, I'm like, okay, this is bigger than me. And all I'm going to gain from this is information. If they tell me, what, this is garbage, this is that, I learned from it. In fact, speaking of Clubhouse, I went in and I was pitching because I'm looking for some additional investors, and I was pitching it. And one of the women in the room, when I mentioned that my competition was like a Louis Vuitton or a Gucci, completely lost track of the vision of what I was doing, was focused on that and was going back and forth from my website and truly didn't get my product. She's like, you should scrap this idea. You don't know what you're talking about. It's just a regular stroller. I'd expect somebody with 33 years to be more innovative. Somebody would have been upset and crushed over that. I looked at it and said, she didn't get it. So we need to revamp our website so that when somebody goes to our website and they see the premier product, we have a couple of strollers on there. When they see the premier product, it pops. This stroller does this, in all these configurations. So we are, as we speak, revamping the website to a collage of pictures showing how the one stroller converts to all these others. So again, I took something that somebody may have been, hurt, had their feelings crushed, ego crushed. But to me, I looked at it and said, oh, okay, why didn't it resonate with her? What can we do to make it resonate with people because she didn't get it? And that's really how I look at it, as constructive.
Right, and it's a conscious choice too. Yeah. There's a conscious choice to say, I'm going to turn this into something positive. I love what you're doing there.
I wasn't always able to do that. So again, I mean, maybe I'm 59 years old now, and maybe it took 59 years for me to get to that level of maturity to say, hey, I can now take that and make it constructive. But yeah, I wasn't always that. I didn't always have that kind of attitude towards it. So again, I don't know. I just maybe that's kind of proof that I'm doing what I truly love and what I'm passionate about, and nothing's going to deter me from it.
Yeah, and keeping your eye on that ball, so to speak, is huge. Sure. Despite everything that you hear, and knowing that even more importantly, that you can use what you hear to your advantage. The legacy side of this, there is something to be said that when we leave this earth, and we had this conversation a little bit in the clubhouse room, the 413, that when we leave this earth, it's, we don't want to have regrets. We don't want to have moments where we say, I wish I would have done this when I had the opportunity. I wish I would have done that. But then to live beyond that, to say, when I'm gone, I want something that I have done to continue to benefit other people. So I would love for you to just share a little bit about what that passion for the human trafficking and helping people who have been through that horrific situation, what that means to you, and what you hope to see your company, being able to contribute to those people.
Yes, I'd like to build something that my kids and my grandkids are proud of, and in hopes that maybe one day one of them wants to follow it. I shared with you, I think, in a previous conversation, the parable about, give a man a fish, he eats for a day, teach a man a fish, he eats for a lifetime. I'm taking that kind of a step further. Somebody needs to restock the pond. And so I want to restock the pond of cash resources that these charities that are really doing amazing things with victims of human trafficking. I want them to be able to come to me as a resource and say, hey, look, we've got another mission, we've got another project, we're going to build another house, whatever, we're going to start a new facility in this town, and be able to say, I want to be a part of it. Let me give you the first, X amount of dollars that you need so that we can get the ball rolling and get things cracking. That's kind of what the vision is for human trafficking. Why human trafficking? Again, spiritual thing. I think it just got laid on my heart by the Lord. And I met some amazing people. I mean, I stop and think about it, and just now I get emotional. I get overwhelmed with emotion. Up behind me, there's this doll up here and a couple of books. Those are there all the time. Wasn't staged for this, but that's a foundation called Compass 31, and it's run by a husband and wife, Jenny Sue Jessen and her husband. And Jenny Sue is a beautiful, beautiful human. I mean, she's got the most amazing eyes, but she's got an amazing heart. And Jenny Sue was sold by her grandfather for sex from age 4 to 17. And she's overcome that to now have this charity that she and her husband started in Bangladesh that has 180 kids that they've taken off the streets, taught them how to build those dolls, and they turn around and sell those dolls in order to fuel the home, orphanage, whatever you want to call it, that is now giving them an education so that they have a chance to make it, other than selling, gum on the streets or getting swooped up by somebody. We've all seen the movie Slumdog Millionaire, and I kind of envision that. Another one is Lori Burns. Lori's the director of the Teen Project, in Vera's house in Orange County, California. Lori's been on Steve Harvey a couple times and was on Oprah. But Lori was somebody who aged out of foster care, ended up on the streets, became a prostitute, intravenous drug user, was nearly killed, turned her life around, went through a facility much like she's created. They got her master's degree and became a senior project manager at Northrop Grumman. And Russell Brand got a hold of her and said, hey, I've heard your story. Let's start a recovery home. And it didn't work out with Russell, but she ended up being a foster mom to some 48 girls, I think it is what I saw in Steve Harvey. And she now has 165 girls in Vera's place, which I've been to. I've actually physically gone there, walked down the street with Lori. First time I ever met her. It's kind of a cul-de-sac they bought the cul-de-sac, they cut it off with a gate. And I'm walking down it, and girls who have been abused by men walking up to me, looking me in the eye and shaking my hand and introducing themselves to me. I'm like, what courage and strength and fortitude to overcome something as tragic as they've been through, to be able to look a stranger in the eye, shake his hand and say, hi, I'm such and such. And so I went, wow, what an amazing transformation. And I've been to another one that wasn't so great, right? They just were pulled off the street. Some of them are pregnant. They're very hardened. And you walk in there and, man, you think you're in a women's prison because they're just at the beginning stages of starting to get the transformation. So to have seen the beginning, I saw the end before the beginning. Lori actually sent me to another called Casa Teresa, which is kind of the first steps, and it was tragic. It was tragic to see these people, and that's what I would have expected at Lori's place. But then I go to Lori's, and everybody's rebounding. So and one of the things I've told my investors, I said, when I give you back your investment dollars, it will be at Vera's place. You will be walking on the streets there because I want you to see what you started. And what we didn't start that charity, but what we started in giving in our philanthropic edge of or social impact, whatever you want to call it, of giving to these charities. This is what you're contributing to. So anyhow, it was very impactful to me. Like I said, I get emotional because I just think of the atrocities that these people have been through. So
what would you say to somebody right now who has experienced something, seen something, and they've said, I wish I knew how to help. I've got this idea, but I'm nobody. I'm not going to make a difference.
I'm a nobody also, right? I'm just a standard, normal guy that's gone through a corporate career and just had an epiphany, if you will, that I want to do something different and bigger. The only thing I could say is you have to just take that first step. You have to take a step forward. There's standing still, wishing and dreaming isn't accomplishing anything. You never know what you can accomplish. I mean, I've had zero help in launching this. It was all bootstrapping and my passion, and then I convinced others along the way to join me. But I'm nobody special. I don't come from a very affluent family. It wasn't like I had a trust fund that I was pulling on. It was just an idea that I wrote a plan for. I created a product, did that all out of my own pocket, and then I recruited others to help. And I think when you've got your heart in the right place, other people want to join you. They want to be a part of it. And that's all you've got to do is just get started, share your passion, create a plan, and move forward. And you never know what you're going to accomplish.
Let's talk about sharing your passion for a minute, because, one of the things that you were sharing in the previous story, and you said the relationship itself didn't end up working out, but it caught the attention when she was sharing that story. It caught the attention of someone who had, some influence in the world. I'm looking at how taking this experience or this drive that I have within me and then transforming that into a story that I can share with somebody that might inspire them to say, you know what, I believe in what you believe. Let me help you in the way that I can. What is it about that human element? How do you connect that story to somebody else to really, help find the people that are in your tribe to gather around you to help you make the dream come true?
Well, I think a lot of it's trial and error. I'm sure there's many people that I've run across and I've told my story about my passion for this that thought maybe I was out of my mind, but I'm okay with that. I think it really comes down to, you were talking about earlier about thick skin. When you're passionate about something, you really, criticism means nothing, right? And nobody's going to tell me straight to my face, you're out of your mind wanting to help charities. If they did, I would think they're out of their mind. But yeah, I think you just share it, and you'd be surprised. Also in that room, the 413, I heard somebody speaking, and I don't want to bring up his name for his own privacy, but there was somebody in the room. He charters yachts, and he said something in the room about humanitarian efforts. And so I sent him a back channel message, which is the texting in the back of the room that you can do while the room's going on, and said, hey, I'd like to have a conversation with you, if you don't mind. And he said, sure, I would love to. Exchanged phone numbers. We got on the phone, and he told me then, he goes, I'm doing that. He's from Britain. He goes, I'm doing this in the yacht space. I work with, people that he goes, I think I shared in the room, I can't write $1 million check, but I work with those that can write $100 million checks. And I said, oh, that's pretty cool. It's a great network to have. And he said, and I'm really wanting to do something in human trafficking. He goes, what do you do? And I went, you got to be kidding me. I go, I started a company, look at my website, and I said, I started a company that I want to feed that effort to not only help support the recovery of these people, but ultimately to stop it, right, and shut it down. And we got a chance to share, kind of serendipitously, like you and I, we were like, how did we connect again? Oh, it was in the 413. Yeah, I think you mentioned our friend Vivek, and I said, oh, it was in the 413. That's how it was. He and I, knew exactly where we met, but had no idea that spiritually we were connected in wanting to do this. So again, you just never know who's going to be out there that you're going to connect with, that's going to say, hey, I'm also in that effort. I want to help. I opened up my bank account for the company, and I was talking to the branch manager there, and his wife was due any minute now, and he said, hey, look, he goes, I don't know what I can do, but I want to volunteer in any way, shape, or form I can. When you're up and running, can I volunteer? Can I man the phones? Can I do something for you? This is a banker with a young family.
And there it is.
I want to volunteer. And so, again, you just put the message out there. I guess you do have to be a little bit vulnerable. But, again, like I said, if somebody has a heartache with what I'm doing, they're either involved in human trafficking or they just do not have a warm heart whatsoever, because they just don't get it. I don't know anybody that would say, well, that's dumb. So
yeah. And to be able to be moved to then say, how can I volunteer? Oh,
I mean, that's been my case. That's been probably, I would say, 90% of the people that I've met have said I've been moved by that. 9% have been indifferent, and 1% have been like, huh? So, but 90%, I would say, is a pretty fair number that are inspired to want to do something. And it may not be with me, it may not be in human trafficking, but they're seeing what I'm doing and the passion that I have for it to say, I want to get involved in something. And so I'm hoping that that's making a difference, that, if it's not directly involved with me, then it's, somewhere in the world that they're making a difference, either for homeless or the hungry or whatever it may be. It's just people helping people. And, there's a lot of people, there's Tom Shoes that did it. I'm not being that unique in having a social impact. I am the first one in the baby gear industry, baby products industry, that's doing it, but I'm hoping others will follow.
So take me just 5 years into the future. Things go the direction that you're wanting them to go. You continue the work. What does For Human Baby Products look like in 5 years?
So For Humanity Baby Products will have, we have 2 strollers now. I'm working on a swing high chair combination. I'll eventually do car seats. I've got the experience of I was a founding partner in 2 car seat companies that are still on the market. I was director of global sales for Graco Children's Products, which is one of the largest, and we had a crash test sled in Macedonia, Ohio, which was the only one in the U.S. at the time that was private. There's a lot of testing labs, but so I have a lot of knowledge in car seat safety, and I probably will go to a car seat and add that connects to our stroller. But there'll be a lot of indoor use products such as swings, high chairs, pack and place, this type of thing. But more importantly, that's the For Humanity Baby Products division. But for Products for Humanity Corporation, we will be probably in women's activewear, something along the lines of a Lululemon, because it's the same demographic, right? It's the same moms, they're wearing yoga pants, and dads that are active, that'll be out pushing our strollers. We do have a jogging stroller platform, so that'll kind of lead into that next division. My youngest son played Division I college baseball and played a little minor league ball. And I'd love to see him come on and maybe grab a glove company that we could acquire, or design some gloves, and then maybe be along the lines of a Tom, buy a glove, we'd give a glove to a little league, something along the lines of that. But again, everything that I want Products for Humanity to stand for is helping out the community. Most importantly to me, children. That's where my heart is.
Oh, that's good. Well, how can people, find out about what you are up to in the world, find your products? What's a good way for them to connect with you?
Instagram for Humanity Baby, or my direct email, davidw@productsforhumanity.com, and be happy to answer any questions or show you how you can get involved.
Awesome. David Williams, thanks so much for sharing with us your passion and your vision for the future. I am inspired every time I meet someone like you who is out there in the world making things happen. So thank you for being a part of this.
Shawn, I'm so honored and I'm pleased. I know that you and I will continue to be in contact. We will be friends for life. I just feel it, but it's just an honor to be included in your show, and I appreciate you helping me get the word out. It's truly an honor.
The Switchpoint Project is part of the Switchpoint Media Network. Switchpoint Media creates raw and revealing conversations that explore the intersection of self and social awareness, growth, and authentic human connection. For more great podcasts and videocasts, be sure to join us at switchpoint.media.